Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting, titillating, orgasmic edition of Radical Rock and Record Reviews. I'm your host, Wild Ride Bassist Mick Watkins, otherwise known as Dick Twatkins. And today, guys, I'd like to talk to you about, well, a topic that I honestly haven't talked about much on this show. But today we're going to talk about my favorite band of all time. You wanted the best. You got the best. The hottest band in the world. Kiss! Anyway, last week I was scrolling through Facebook and I was looking at posts and shit, and I stopped upon a group that I'm in. A group that belongs to the Shout It Out Loud cast, an awesome podcast that I like to listen to every week. And one of the dudes on the podcast, his name is Tom Gigololetti. Tom Gigololetti posted this article that was published by UltimateClassicRock.com. The website, UltimateClassicRock.com. It was published April 7th of 2021. And I read this article. And I thought that, I was like, you know what? I deserve, Mick Watkins, otherwise known as Dick Twatkins, deserves. I mean, I'm one of the biggest Kiss fans you know. And let me just go ahead and say it. I'm a huge Kiss fan. I love Kiss. They were the life-changing band for me, okay? I'm a proud member of the Kiss Army, of course. But I'll tell you what, one thing I am not is a full-fledged Kiss tard, okay? I'm not a Kiss tard. I don't love and worship everything the band has done, like lots of Kiss fans. Lots of Kiss fans blindly suck the assholes of Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. I love Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons. I love Kiss. Their music changed my life. But I'm not a Kiss tard. And I thought, there's no one better. There's no one better than me to give my opinions on the questions asked in this article. So anyway, UltimateClassicRock.com published this article on Kiss. And I thought it was very interesting. Kiss. The last great, the last good, the last bad album roundtable. All right? So, the fine folks at UltimateClassicRock.com asked 4 different people. Some of these names that I know, some names that I do not know or recognize, okay? Some of the people, I got it all written down in my handy-dandy notebook. Some of the people taking part in this kind of last great, last good, last bad, or excuse me, last great, last good, first bad album roundtable. Some of the people involved are, this man is infamous. He is one of the, and I kind of hate to say it because I don't want to give him a bigger head than what he's got. I don't want to stroke his ego any more than what he probably loves. But anyway, the first dude is the infamous Tool. Okay, the Tool. Michael Brandvold of Three Sides of the Coin podcast, okay? Probably the biggest Kiss podcast out there. And I know, and I've listened to it for years. I don't listen to it much anymore. But I used to listen to the show lots. And Michael Brandvold, I have to give it to the guy. He is a master manipulator, all right? His thing is he loves to piss off people. He plays the villain card up perfect. And he gets Kiss tards and Kiss fans, especially Kiss tards, he gets them all riled up by, like, posting pictures of Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer and shit. He's a troublemaker, but I will give it to him. He plays the role insanely perfectly, and he's made himself the villain of Kiss podcast, and he has gotten great success. And the dude's a success, period. He's lived out lots of his dreams. The guy first ran KissOnline.com. He used to work with the band during the Psycho Circus era, and the Farewell Tour era, and the Kiss Sympathy. That's what I like to call it, the Kiss Sympathy, Alive 4 era, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, you got Michael the Tool Brandvold. You got some other dudes I've never heard of. Michael Christopher. I guess that he works for UltimateClassicRock.com. Ed Rivadavida. I guess, once again, he works for UltimateClassicRock.com. And then a dude that works for Loudwire named Joe DeVitte. So anyway, the questions they asked. Kiss, the last great, the last good, and the first bad albums of Kiss's almost 50-year career. 48 years and counting. Kiss has been around, Kiss has been active. So I was like, dude, I gotta weigh in on this. I gotta weigh on it. So let's get going. You're finally gonna find out some of my opinions of Kiss, my all-time favorite band. And I want to thank Tom Gigoletti of the Shout Out Loudcast for posting this. Thanks, Tom Gigoletti. And check out that podcast too. Shout Out Loudcast. Awesome, hilarious shit, dude. I promise you, you will have a blast if you're a Kiss fan. And if you're a Kiss tard, they might actually offend you. You can go cry and go sleep under your Kiss fucking sleeping bag in your mom's basement. Anyway, so let's get down to the questions. Number one question. What's the last great Kiss album? Okay? Right off the bat, I'm going to go with a little controversy, okay? In my opinion, what is the last great Kiss studio album? Well, I got them all right here on vinyl that I'm going to show you and hold up while I talk about each choice, each album that I made. In my opinion, the last great Kiss studio album is easily, hands down, and I know lots of people are going to freak out over this. They're going to be like, oh, fuck you, Mick. You know what? I don't care. This is my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I truly, firmly believe the last great Kiss studio album was the last Kiss studio album the band released. I'm talking about from 2012, their mighty, heavy, hard-rocking, kick-ass album, Monster. Go ahead. Go ahead, start the boos. Boo, it's Scab Kiss, fuck Tommy Thayer, fuck Eric Singer, boo. You know what, look, if you all have watched this show for, like, in the past or whatever, you guys know that I am a loyal Ace Frehley fan, okay? Ace Frehley's my guy. Ace Frehley is the reason that I picked up guitar and wanted to be in a band, of course, other than my dad. But Ace Frehley's my dude, okay? I'm a loyal Ace guy. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm not a big fan of Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer wearing the Catman and the Space Ace makeup. I don't like it. I think once Ace and Peter left the band back in the day, Tommy and Eric, like Vinnie Vincent and Eric Carr, should have gotten their own makeup designs and characters. But you know what? I get why it was done. I get why Gene and Paul stuffed Tommy and Eric in those costumes. So, you know, I get it from a business standpoint, and I get it from a marketing standpoint, okay? I don't think it's good, but regardless of the makeup, which that's 99.9 people's problems with the current lineup of Kiss. Tommy and Eric wearing Ace and Peter's makeup. But regardless, fuck the makeup issue. Let's just talk about bare bones rock and roll. Let's just talk about the music. The music on Monster is completely badass, okay? In 2012, this is what Kiss should have been doing. This is what Kiss did in 2012, and honestly, this is what Kiss should have been doing ever since. All right? This is taking the kind of, you know, the mission statement of the original lineup. All right? You have 4 guys, 4 different personalities, 4 characters, all help writing the songs, playing the songs, singing the songs, and within those songs, adding their own personalities. This album has that in spades. The band's firing on all cylinders. Strong playing from everybody. Some of Gene Simmons' best playing in history is on this album. Gene kicks ass all over this album. Strong vocals from Gene Simmons. Like it or not, I think Tommy Thayer definitely kicked it up a notch. You know, on Sonic Boom, little spoiler alert, I love Sonic Boom. I think Sonic Boom is also a great album. But on that album, you know, Tommy Thayer played a lot like Ace. And some of his solos were definitely kind of cut and paste solos from stuff that Ace did back in the 70s. But on this album, Tommy Thayer completely comes into his own with his own style, which is very much, you know, dude, he grew up as a Kiss fan. Majorly influenced by Ace Frehley. You can hear Ace in his playing. And I don't think maybe that's because he wanted to be like Ace so much. That's just the school that he came from. Huge Ace Frehley fan. There's lots of Jimmy Page in his playing. And more than anybody, I think you hear lots of Ronnie Montrose in his playing. So Tommy Thayer kicks ass. Strong vocals from Tommy. Eric Singer, probably one of the best drummers in rock and roll today. Kicks ass all over this album. Great vocals from him on his song also. So then you talk about Paul Stanley, okay? Now, we know that starting around 2009, 2010, whatever, Paul Stanley started having issues with his voice. And since then, it's went into a nosedive. But I don't want to harp on that, and I don't want to get into all that stuff. We know, okay? But for where Paul Stanley was at back in 2012 on this album, I think Paul Stanley does a really kick-ass good job. You know, some of the grit that he had in his voice, some of the straining he had in his voice, maybe naturally or maybe with studio magic, I think works on this album and kind of helps give it the dark, heavy, gritty vibe that Monster has. So yeah, I think this is a really great album. I really dig the production. I know lots of fans think it's kind of brick-walled and shitty. I like the production. It's very hot. It's very heavy. It's very, almost like a modern-day Hotter Than Hell. You know, very just overdriven sounding. Kind of distorted. I think it gives this album lots of character, okay? And yeah, you know, what this band with the Gene, Paul, Tommy, and Eric lineup started on Sonic Boom. On Monster, this band just totally evolved, found their own sound outside of the classic 70s Kiss lineup. And they just nailed it on Monster. And I'm going to go ahead and say it, I think it's a real fucking shame that 9 years later, this is the latest Kiss release. That really pisses me off as a Kiss fan. Kiss should have kept it going, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, the last great Kiss album, in my opinion, humble opinion, 2012's Monster. Standout cuts for me are Hell or Hallelujah, blistering opening track, Wall of Sound, pure badass Gene Simmons Dima personified, awesome track. My favorite song on the album, Wall of Sound. Freak, total missed opportunity. Damn it. Should have been the first single. It should have had a video of them kind of playing in like some kind of old Don Kirshner kind of an atmosphere, midnight special atmosphere. And then when he's singing the chorus, I'm a freak, I got streaks in my hair. People point at me instead. During that chorus, they should have been flashing pictures of Kiss fans, you know, wearing their Kiss shirts and makeup. And then show pictures of like fucking rock stars that did Kiss, you know. Like at the time, Vinnie Paul and, you know, fucking Lady Gaga. I didn't think she was supposed to sing a duet with Paul on that song. So yeah, I had pictures of like rock stars, pop stars, fans, everybody dressed up as Kiss, showing that they're proud to be freaks. That could have been a very strong single and an awesome video for Kiss. But like Kiss likes to do a lot, like what Kiss has done in the last 15, 16 years, in my opinion, drop the fucking ball. So yeah, and another standout track to me, Take Me Down Below. Okay, classic pervy Kiss lyrics, talking about I got a submarine, talking about raising a flagpole when she dropped her dress, all kinds of crazy shit. I know, you know, it's very kind of cheesy and juvenile, but dude, it's fucking Kiss we're talking about. Shut the fuck up and have some fun. Anyway, I think this is a great album. I love it. I spin it pretty often, frequently. I think Monster kicks ass, and it definitely deserves a strong follow-up. Paul Stanley, if you're listening, fuck the sales. Don't worry about album sales, selling millions of albums. Don't worry about any of that. Just give your hardcore fans, the fans that have stuck with you through everything, before the band ends the End of the Road tour, give your true hardcore fans, the true Kiss Army, give us one more album. Or at least, fuck, one more single. Something. Damn, dude. Come on. Anyway, so that's my last great Kiss album opinion. Okay? So now goes into the last good Kiss album. All right? Last good Kiss album. Now, no, once again, this is going to be a controversial pick. All right? And I know this album is so loved. People love this album. People say it's one of the best Kiss albums. Lots of people have it in their top 5. I like this album, okay? It was important to me, like, growing up and becoming a Kiss fan, okay? This was the album that planted the seeds of me getting into Kiss, all right? But with that being said, I do find this album really, really, really overrated, okay? I really do. Go ahead and get your fruit, get your vegetables, get your popcorn. You're ready to throw it at the camera because, in my opinion, the last good Kiss album, which I'm not shitting on it, last good Kiss album from 1992, Revenge, okay? Solid album, all right? Let's talk about in the late 80s, okay? Kiss released some stuff that was, because I'm such a Kiss fan, I like most of the Kiss music in the catalog, okay? But in the late 80s, Kiss kind of did a lot of questionable things. You're like, yeah, that's pretty good, but man, it's probably not the direction you guys should have went in, you know? They did some kind of cheesy, hokey, goofy, weird shit in the late 80s. I love some of that stuff. Some of it, when you look back at it now, you're like, ooh. You know, and like you say, yeah, I love Kiss. Kiss is my favorite band of all time. And if somebody's seen the music video to, you know, Reason to Live, or fucking Let's Put the X in Sex, he'll be like, that's your favorite band? Ooh. And I think, no, I mean, yes, but not that era specifically. But anyway, yeah, Revenge from 1992. I think this is the last really, really strong, good Kiss album. I don't think it's perfect, and yes, I do think Monster's better than Revenge. I think Monster kicks Revenge in the damn nutsack 3 times. You know, so, you know, this album, after lots of, you know, kind of, you know, Gene Simmons not being focused, Gene Simmons wanting to be a movie star and date Hollywood celebs and become a Hollywood celeb himself, this album saw Gene Simmons finally becoming the demon again, you know. For the first time since probably 1983, you know, throughout the 80s, Gene Simmons was kind of lost, you know. And this album, I mean, you see him right there. Gene Simmons finally found the demon in the non-makeup version. He found the non-makeup version of the demon. And Gene Simmons, to me, Gene Simmons is the MVP on this album. With tracks like Unholy, Spit, kind of. I don't like that part, but come on, Unholy, Unholy. Domino kicks all kinds of ass. Thou Shalt Not. Gene's bass playing on this album. We finally get a focused Gene Simmons. You see the first appearance of Eric Singer on this album. For the first time, Kiss had a drummer with blonde hair. Eric Singer kills it on this album. Very good. Bruce Kulick, you know, dude, I mean, Bruce Kulick's an awesome guitar player. You know, but throughout the 80s, especially more towards probably the later 80s, you know, maybe like Crazy Nights and Hot in the Shade era, I think Bruce was kind of trapped in that whole 80s Eddie Van Halen shredder style, which he excelled at that and was great. But I really don't think that that's Bruce Kulick's strong point. I mean, it is his strong point. He's badass at it. But I think on this album, Bruce finally found his standpoint, his stance on Revenge. And Bruce Kulick just fucking jizzes hot licks all over this album. Bruce Kulick kills it. Finally came into his own. And, dude, we have to talk about Paul Stanley. I really think Paul Stanley, one of his peaks as a vocalist, started with Revenge. I mean, throughout the 90s, dude, starting with Revenge, going through Alive 3 and Carnival of Souls and Psycho Circus, I think Paul Stanley was at a vocal peak. And unfortunately, his last vocal peak, which could be why, maybe one of the reasons why his vocals kind of gave out on him. But Paul Stanley was just, God, some of the notes he could hit. His song was so, his singing was so strong and just, Dude, he was up there with the best of all time. And Paul Stanley's peak performance, one of the greatest rock and roll singers ever, in my opinion. Paul Stanley killed it on this album. And we got to give props to Bob Ezrin. Bob Ezrin produced Revenge. And this album's got an awesome production. But why I chose it as it's the last good Kiss album, I think just some of the songs are not really quite up to par, you know. I think Spit is very kind of, you know, Every Time I Look at You, kind of, Paralyzed, never really cared for that too much. And, you know, even some of the stronger songs on this album are just still not exactly up to that standard. That's just my opinion, but I love Revenge. I think it's a badass album. And honestly, Kiss Revenge is a huge influence on my band Wild Ride. Everybody in Wild Ride really loves this, and we look to this album, and that whole style is a very big influence. All right? So yeah, my standout tracks on this album are Unholy, Take It Off. Take it off, pretty baby. Take it off, drive me crazy. Good stuff. Tough Love is awesome. They call her Domino. Every time I see that bitch bend over, I forget my name. Ow. And I love Thou Shalt Not. Well, I know what I want. So yeah, my opinion, the last really good Kiss album, 1992's Revenge. All right, so now we get into, let me look at my notes here. Now we get into the fun part. The first bad Kiss album. Now, like I said, Kiss is my favorite band. I love Kiss, and I enjoy all of the Kiss music, all right? So, like, this was kind of hard for me to find the first bad Kiss album. So then I think, do I include the solo albums, or do I not include the solo albums? And personally, for me, I'm not going to include the solo albums. But I just want to say, if I did include the solo albums, I would have to say the very first bad, shockingly, the very first bad Kiss studio album would have to be, I'm sorry, Peter, you rule, dude, but the first bad Kiss album would have to be the Peter Criss solo album. Good album, but seeing the Kiss logo on there and knowing that Peter sang badass songs like Getaway and Strange Ways and Mainline, Baby Driver, songs actually Peter wrote, Baby Driver and Hooligan, and then he does this. Good album, but it's kind of the first stinker really in the Kiss catalog, but thankfully for Peter's sake, I'm not including this. So yeah. So now, but when you get into the official true Kiss studio albums, this was kind of hard because I do like this album. Okay, I like this album a lot. I don't think it sucks, but when you look at this album, you know, without the rose-tinted glasses, without the thing of being a huge Kiss fan, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think the first truly kind of bad and weaker studio album that Kiss made was 1987's Crazy Nights. Like I said, it's a good album, but I gotta ask, Paul, what the fuck, dude? I mean, I know you're trying to be all sexy for the ladies and stuff, but I don't want to see that. I really don't want to see your hairy-ass chest and your pube fro and your little G-strings. But hey, I love you, Paul. You're awesome. But yeah, 1987's Crazy Nights, or Crazy Nights, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Not bad. And I totally get in this period, and going into the late 80s, you know, rock and roll and heavy metal were getting sweeter, glitzier, glammier, shinier, you know. I mean, fuck, Judas Priest put out Turbo, you know. Iron Maiden even kind of softened up their approach with Somewhere in Time. Ozzy Osbourne did The Ultimate Sin. But you know what, though? Those Ultimate Sin, Turbo, all those albums that I just mentioned are a lot heavier and grittier and dirtier than this. Like, this album has some really good songs to it, okay? But a lot is just too fucking fluffy. I will find hell to hold you. Hell to Hold You. Bang Bang You. Give me 1, 2, 3, 4. When midnight's coming, I'll be at your door. 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, baby, I just can't wait. Ooh, not that great. You know, Reason to Live, good ballad, but man, I can see where that probably could have turned off a lot of hardcore Kiss fans back in 1987. You know, but I will say this, the Paul Stanley stuff, and this is Paul Stanley in particular, going for a wimpy-ass, weak-ass Bon Jovi direction, which I think Bon Jovi fucking blows, okay? And Bon Jovi, in my opinion, is one of the shittiest bands of the 80s. This album, to me, is called Kiss Jovi. This is what I call Kiss Jovi, and, you know, Paul Stanley songs are just too sugary and sappy for me. I like them, but this is not an album that I listen to very much and crank really that much at all. But I tell you what, though, Gene Simmons has some badass songs with this. Where Paul Stanley went the Bon Jovi route, Paul Stanley got a little MTV gloss. Gene Simmons did not. Gene Simmons delivers some heavy-ass, rockin', cool songs. No, no, no. Badass, blistering, that cool intro with Bruce Kulick shredding all over it. Gene Simmons killed it on No, No, No. My favorite track, and probably one of my overall favorite Gene Simmons songs, Hell or High Water, is awesome. Good Girl Gone Bad is awesome. And Thief in the Night, a song that he wrote for Wendy O. Williams back in the day, but then Gene Simmons redid it on Crazy Nights. Gene Simmons, to me, saves this album. Paul Stanley is definitely the weak point of this album. Great performances from Bruce Kulick, great performances from Eric Carr, but I think this is the first release where Kiss, in my opinion, some fans might say that Dynasty was the first weakest. A lot of people would say that Unmasked is. Not to me. I love Unmasked. A lot of people would say The Elder, Music from The Elder, is the first weak Kiss album. Not to me. I think The Elder is killer. Animalize, I think, kills. Asylum, killer. Crazy Nights, that's where the brakes halt, and it's not killer. Good, but not killer. But overall, you take off the rose-tinted glasses of being a Kiss fan, Crazy Nights is the first what the fuck kind of bad album. So there you go. My opinion on that. And then they ask, what was the Kiss album that just missed being good? Okay? And whenever I asked myself this question, I was like, okay, Mig, what was the first album that missed being good? And this is the first album that popped into my mind. And I can say, you know, maybe this album is more of a train wreck. It's more of a clusterfuck, and is without a doubt one of the biggest disappointments in history. You know, this album had so much riding on it. This album could have been so amazing and kick-ass. But instead, it was just a big kind of bold-faced lie to the Kiss Army, and it really let a lot of people down. And I remember back when this album came out, I mean, I was like in the beginning of my Kiss fandom, so to speak, and I looked so forward to this coming out. And I remember my mom went and got it for me the day it came out. I could not fucking wait to rip it out of the shrink wrap, and I got it, and I remember listening to it, and I thought the title track especially was amazing. Loved it. And I thought the Ace Frehley song was pretty killer. But other than that, man, I just felt really let down by this album. And this album could have been so much more. So maybe while I'm kind of beating around the question, maybe it's a little worse than being just missed being good. But the first album that popped into my mind, I had to go with 1998's Psycho Circus. The failed reunion album. You know, I think Kiss were worried about making this a cool looking album cover than they were about making it a better musical album. Good album. It was the first album back with Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter. As we found out much years later, I found out in the Behind the Mask book that Ace and Peter weren't really that involved in this album. And that just kind of makes it kind of a disappointment in my opinion. But yeah, you know, the title track, Psycho Circus, excellent, classic with a K, Kiss song. Love it. They played it on the End of the Road tour, and I just think Psycho Circus is upon the best Kiss tracks of all time. It's excellent. The concept of it, the Psycho Circus, you know, with the clown and shit, and the cool packaging, and the theme of the tour being like a circus and shit. The music video, awesome concept. Had the momentum of the reunion tour going. In my opinion, when the tour ended in '97, Kiss should have took a break. All right? Kiss should have took a break to kind of recharge the batteries. If there was any kind of internal rot starting with Ace and Peter and Gene and Paul, they should have just chilled it out. Maybe got some help with some therapist or something like Metallica did. And I don't think this album should have came out really until maybe like 2000. So I think Kiss should have took a break. Let the build up, let the need and want for more Kiss to kind of build up and get stronger. And then this album should have came out in about 2000. And then Kiss probably could have rode out the reunion with the original lineup a little bit longer. But instead, they had to bam, 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 fucking knock it out and just constant. And I think that just brought a lot of turmoil and stress into the original lineup, which is a very fragile thing to begin with. But yeah, you know, the inner drama kind of ruined this album. You know, Ace and Peter are pictured on this, but they're not really on it that much. I know Gene Simmons doesn't really play a lot of bass on that. And you hear some of the songs, you're like, damn, that's some really good kick-ass bass playing from Gene. On a lot of the songs, Bruce Kulick is playing it. And he does a great imitation of Gene Simmons. It's not Peter playing on it, it's Kevin Valentine. Ace only plays lead on 2 songs, Into the Void and You Wanted the Best. And 3 if you count the bonus track In Your Face. But most of the lead guitar is done by Tommy Thayer. And it's just, you know, there's not really a lot of songwriting done by Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley by themselves or Ace and Peter. A lot of session songwriter Diane Warren's on here. And, you know, it's a good album. It is, but it's not what it could have been. It's not what it could have been. And for that, I got to give it, it's the album that just missed being good. Come on, guys. So, honestly, to me, Sonic Boom is what this album should have been. If Kiss would have released Sonic Boom in '98 and replaced the Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer songs with Ace and Peter, I think it would have been fucking awesome. And people would praise Sonic Boom as one of the greatest fucking Kiss albums ever. Gotta go with Psycho Circus. Yeah, so standout cuts to me. Psycho Circus, the title track, classic. Within is pretty cool. I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll is pretty badass. Into the Void, my second favorite song on it. That's the only song that Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter played on. And you can hear it, dude. You can hear that original Kiss magic in that song. And I think We Are One is a killer, badass, vibing song. You know, I know that with this album, Kiss was clearly trying to kind of resurrect the vibe and do a sequel to Destroyer. But they kind of missed the mark on that. And I think Kiss should have just went back and, like Sonic Boom, maybe done like a more old school Rock and Roll Over or Dress to Kill style album. That's just my opinion. So there you go. Psycho Circus is my just missed that being good Kiss album. And then the final question they ask, Kiss said that they are not going to record any more albums. Do you agree with that decision? Do you think Kiss could still make a good or great album? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say I know they can. Okay. Sonic Boom, in my opinion. I know lots of people hate it. Lots of people hate Monster. In my opinion, I think Sonic Boom and Monster are great killer fucking albums. I love them. They are exactly what I think Kiss should be doing now. You know, like Sonic Boom was a good thing of the Gene, Paul, Eric, and Tommy lineup finding their footing. So, okay, this is the foundation. We've kind of went back to the classic 70s Kiss sound, but we've also added some 80s and some 90s. You know, to me, Sonic Boom is like Rock and Roll Over, Asylum, and Revenge all mixed up. So that's the Tommy and Eric lineup finding their footing. Then they expand and evolve on that with Monster. And Monster is almost 9 years old. So within the last 9 years, going at the rate they were going in, putting out an album every 2 or 3 years, there should be at least 3 or 4 more Kiss albums in there. But instead, and I hate this aspect of Kiss. I fucking hate it. Kiss has just been more concerned with riding on nostalgia and resting on their laurels and pumping out rubber ducks and like fucking Hello Kitty dolls and bubble gum and fucking shower curtains and condoms and toilet paper and just all kinds of Kiss crap spelled with a K. And I just wish that they would have focused on more original new music for your hardcore fans. Like I said earlier, fuck selling millions of albums, fuck getting the top spot on the Billboard charts, #1 and all that stuff. Just do it for your hardcore fans, the fans that matter. Thought Sonic Boom was great. I thought Monster was great. So I do think Kiss could do one more great killer kick-ass album. I know Paul Stanley's voice isn't what it used to be, but with studio tricks and stuff, studio magic, it could happen. Paul could deliver a pretty badass performance, I think. Gene Simmons has still got it, even though he's like 84 years old now. Gene's still a great singer, still a great songwriter, still a great bassist. And Tommy and Eric, you can shit on them all you want to. Tommy and Eric are awesome players. They shouldn't be in that Catman and Spaceman makeup and costume. I totally don't like that part. But makeup aside, they're great. And they bring just kind of a youthful side to the band. So I think Kiss could and should record one last studio album before they hang it up. And just give it to us, guys. Do it for your hardcore fans. But anyway, we're 37 minutes. That was my opinions on the article published by UltimateClassicRock.com on the Kiss Last Great, Last Good, and First Bad Album Roundtable. So thank you all for joining me on this Kiss episode. I love talking about Kiss. I can totally geek out on it. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments and your likes on the videos. Don't forget to check out my band Wild Ride, WYLDRYDE on Facebook, Official Wild Ride on Instagram, and subscribe to our official Wild Ride YouTube channel where you can get all the latest live videos, videos of us backstage drunk, having fun and doing all kinds of cool stuff, and videos of us traveling on the road. All that stuff is going to be uploaded soon. So check out the band, and thank you all for subscribing to the Mick Watkins channel. Thank you for just kicking ass. You guys roll, and I will see you later. Peace.